LED strip lights, any good? Hi guys, so I've got a really quick video for you today, hopefully. What I'm going to be doing is trying to improve the lighting on this side of the layout. Now, you can probably tell looking at me that on this side of the loft, the lighting's not great. Now, when I had the loft, I had it professionally floored out and we had this super quilt insulation put in, and I had light and power put in, but over here, and I'm just going to move the camera around, I have an LED strip light in the ceiling there. Stupidly, I only got one of them put in. I should have had two put in, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. And I'm not going to touch electrics in the house. Electrics on the layouts as far as I go. So rather than paying an electrician to come out and do this job for me, which from experience where I live, it's a nightmare trying to get an electrician to do a small job, I've decided to try and improve the lighting on this side of the layout just using some LED strip lights. Now, I have no idea if this is going to work or it's not going to work. This video might never be seen if it's a horrible disaster, but it's a relatively cheap way, I'm hoping, of improving the lighting over here. So what I bought is a box of LED light strips. I got these from Amazon. I'll put a link down below if they're any good. I won't if they're rubbish. And this cost me about 20 quid. It's 15 meters. And naughtily, it was advertised on Amazon as being dimmable, but when it's arrived, the box says it's non-dimmable. Now, I could send it back. I find sending things back to Amazon a right pain as well. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to see if it works or not. For 20 quid, it's going to have some effect. I've also bought a packet of little clips that you use to fasten the LED strips up. They're probably self-adhesive. I haven't opened these yet. They're usually self-adhesive, these kinds of things. But past experience tells me they're not that great. The other thing I've bought, because the way the insulation in the loft works, basically you've got a beam there, another beam there, and then this insulation, it's like a duvet is the best way to describe it, and it's stapled on, it's run down, and then it's all sealed with the silver tape, and it works really well. It's much better than some of the other stuff you can get. However, if I'm going to try and attach the strips to this, it's not going to work very well. So I've been to B&Q and I've picked up two 2.4 meter lengths of plain sawn timber. It's a random, what is this? This is 15 mil by 46 mil. They didn't have a huge amount of wood in a B&Q, so I didn't have a lot of choice. But the idea being, it won't take many screws in this because it's not holding much weight. But we'll fasten this on along here like this, which will give me something solid to attach the LED strips to. I may or may not paint it black. Decisions, and then we'll attach the LED strip. But before I go to all of that trouble, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this out, just lie it down and get an idea of how bright it is. It did come with pretty good feedback. Now this is, I say it's 15 meters, but it actually comes as 3 5-meter strips. Now my loft is just short of 5 meters, so that's perfect because that means I can have 1, 2, 3 separate runs and they all just connect to each other. Hopefully you can see that. And then it also comes, so I've got 3 of them. Yep, as expected, some kind of instruction manual, and now I'm really confused, because power has a dimmer switch on it. So who knows how this is going to go. I'm doing this in daylight, so there is daylight coming in the loft, so if I have to make a sharp exit, if the lights go out, then we can. That's a bit confusing and concerning, but we'll see how we get on. But the idea being, I can just plug this into a normal power supply. So let's get this rolled out and let's take a look at it, and then I'll come back to you. rolled out loosely, and it works, and it's absolutely dimmable. If I have to go behind the camera because the lead's not very long, but it definitely dims, definitely gets brighter. Hopefully the camera's picking that up. I'm just going to turn the big light in the loft off as well, just so you can see how bright it is. Now bear in mind, a lot of this is facing all different ways just because of the way I've just rolled it out, but once we get that fastened up, you can't see from my arm, but that's letting off a pretty good light. I'm relatively pleased with that. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to attach the wood and get it up, and then we'll have another look at it. I'll be back in a second. So I've got the piece of wood in, running right the way along in the roof. The first piece went up absolutely brilliantly. Second piece had a slight issue. Now, because of this kind of insulation that I've got on here, if you remember I mentioned it's like a duvet, it's multiple sheets of insulation together, and you just staple it up. But what I've got right here is a cross beam that's on top of the other beams running. So I'm not sure how the camera's picking it up from there, but the wood appears to bow out a little bit there, and it does bow out a little bit because it's going over it, but basically screw in there and screw in there, and it's just pulled it in. So that's absolutely fine. I've only put, as you can see, the first set of lights in out of 3 sets, and I think that's illuminating that really well. Again, I'm going to turn the big light off, tell them northern big light, and you can see how well that lights that up. So I'm really pleased with how that's looking, and actually just looking at it on the camera, it appears to look pretty good as well for when I'm recording. So I'm going to get the other 2 strips up, get them connected to each other. At the minute I'm just using the 3M tape that's on the back of this. I will go along and put some of them little clips in as well. Not sure where you can see them. Get some of them on as well. Won't need a huge amount of them, but just to make it nice and secure, and that should be the job done. So let's have a couple of minutes while I get this done in your time, and then we'll have a look at it. Alright guys, so that is the strip put in. So all 3 are both stuck on using the self-adhesive that comes on the strips, and then I've also used the little clips as well, just to make sure that when it gets hot up in the loft, they're not going to drop back down. I've cable tied each end as well, because where the joiners are, it's got extra weight on it. And then I've also used some cable, these little things. Hopefully you can see that. You know, the whole cables just at either end as well, just to hold the cables up so it doesn't pull it down as well. And yeah, let's turn them on so that you can see what it looks like. So hopefully the camera's showing you that this lets off a huge amount of extra light into this part of the loft that was really dark. I'm really pleased with how they've worked out for what's cost me, what, less than £35, which is, you know, it's the price of one of the new Graham Farish coaches. It's really helped with the light on this side of the loft. Just to show you, I'll turn the light off, the LED strip lights on the other side, the big light as we call it, just so you can see what that looks like. So I'm really happy with that. Let me put the light back on. So now that's done, I will be starting, possibly even this evening, the scenic work on this side. And tomorrow I've got to head down to the south coast, so I will be popping to my local model shop in the hope that they've had a Pico delivery, and if they have, I'll be able to pick up the points that I need to get the track work in this back section as well. So I'm hoping that we can get quite a lot done on this back bit quite quickly, but we will see. We'll see how we progress. Anyway, as I say, something a little bit different today, this video just about these lights. You might find it useful, you might not, if you're just here to see the layout developing with the scenics. Obviously it's not for you, but remember, I've always said I wanted to document each stage of the layout build, and the main reason for that is that I can come back in future if I ever move house and need to restart building the layout again. I can look back on things I've done and learnings and what I like and what I don't like, and that's the reason why I'm doing it. So If you did find it useful, please remember to hit that like button. To all my subscribers, old and new, thank you for your continued support. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, any thoughts, pop them down below. Just a reminder, I am still learning myself, the same as everybody. You know, I've only been back in the hobby a few years. I had a couple of harsh comments recently, and I won't tolerate that kind of thing, so you will simply be your comments will just be removed. I'm happy to converse. I'm looking for people's advice, looking for people's help, but when you get to the point where you're just being rude, it won't be tolerated. And I'm sorry if you don't like that, but there's plenty of other channels. You don't have to watch my videos. I'm here to learn, to be part of a community, to share my layout, and that's what it's all about for me. So for everybody who's supportive, thank you. I do want to hear your suggestions. I just don't want people being aggressive with me. There's no need for it. So I'll leave that with that. I will be back hopefully in a week or so with an update on the scenery. And yeah, thanks as always, guys, and I will see you soon. Cheers. Bye bye.